Hello, everybody. Welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I also publish on Rumble and Patreon, and anything else I usually go about on Twitter X. Late today, I will be able to publish another Death Stranding episode. I think from now on, it will be consistently at least 2 hours each episode, if not mistaken. I already recorded a bunch of them. I'm being able to upload them and on YouTube in a consistent manner. So at this moment, I will continue to do three per week. So Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Yeah. Other than that, I got other series already completed there. For 4K, the recent ones, and 1080p on the more older. Uh, Other than that, let's go to the news again. This week, basically, from the Microsoft Xbox layoff stuff there. Again, it was inevitable. A lot of people have been warning that, given that the fact that we got basically, again, this is a consequence of the confirmation of the fact that the overall strategy, I don't know if it is mandated through Microsoft ads to Xbox on the Game Pass strategy. Again, for a consumer, uh, paying for a subscription fee to supposedly have access to a library of games, it seems good. You pay less than you pay for a full game. You have access to those games. You can play them, and then the library will eventually renovate. But for the company itself, again, you have to have millions and millions of subscribers to try and justify the expense that you will have on producing and uh, come out with enough games for the library to be kept up. And I think it's not a good strategy overall. Again, it's something that I don't know, maybe like PSN Plus, kind of an incentive of okay, you get the games that you can keep, but it's not over very much over reliant on that service in terms of sales for revenue. But yeah, basically, it's basically a consequence of that strategy of I think at this moment is like triple down on Game Pass. The fact that even with this new handheld, even though it seems pretty good, but then again, it's not something that Xbox did by themselves in terms of the hardware itself. It's basically a partnership with ASUS. Just put the sticker of Xbox there on that handheld because the hardware already exists. So it's not something that was, again, it was thought up because ASUS is a gaming hardware company. So to a certain extent, it's already been thought up to be, I don't know, competitive with Game Pass, sorry, Steam Deck. But again, the fact that even Game Pass is going to be coming supposedly to, I think, PlayStation also ecosystem. We already have that on the PC side of things. I think they want to introduce that on the Nintendo Switch also. Again, this comes almost like a desperate move. They drop out the oh my god, I'm forgetting the goddamn name of what I want to say. The fact that they don't have exclusive games to try to attract buyers of the hardware itself. Again, I don't. I'm not seeing heading in a good place in the long term. And with that, again, again those I think the killer blow recently was those Activision Blizzard acquisition of $70 billion, ramping up to 76 billion in the latest years with the Bethesda plus the Activision Blizzard stuff there. Again, it's a lot of money all of a sudden to invest and then to have basically, given that there is a corporate structure there, basically have the pressure of having immediate revenue starting to come up to try and compensate and justify the buy there of those expenses. And again, what they're trying to do here is starting by cutting off expenses. We saw a lot of some studios closing down, some of them just gutted to have workers, developers there. Again, it's a good thing in a certain way. But yeah, we got the Perfect Dark game canceled, plus the studio shut down. We got Turn 10 Studio that I think was gutted to half of the developers there. It probably will eventually shut down. I think they only have like at this moment a skeleton crew just to keep up with Forza Motorsport and all that jazz. Yeah, I don't think this is. I don't think this is good. Again, in some cases here, again, the fact that Game Pass growth has stagnated below the Microsoft ambitions is the fact that, again, they don't have enough subscribers that are paying for that service to justify them to have this amount of expenses of producing games on specifically on first party studios. And again, and the fact that you have third party studio games in Game Pass, it means they are expanding or they have to pay a fee for the studio to be brought up there on Game Pass. And that's an extra expense there, which I don't know how they will how they can justify that in terms of revenue. Again, it only complicates the math. But yeah, it also, to a certain degree, it's a consequence of the COVID-19 pandemic stuff there. We got those 2 3 years, give or take, where people were basically at home, nothing to do. They have more time and to a certain extent have more money to expand in things that were not essential, and we saw a huge growth in gaming. We also saw a lot of I think Netflix skyrocketed in terms of subscriptions and all the services there. And yeah, and they thought, again, the CEOs, they just thought it will be like this forever. The infinite growth thought of again, they didn't this. I think these C-suite guys, they really don't know exactly what kind of companies they are managing, because gaming, as a principle, I don't think it serves best on the Game Pass subscription service model. I don't think it works very well. Again, as a consumer, it seems like a good deal, but by the end, if you don't have enough subscribers, you will eventually have what you have, for example, with Netflix. If you want to see 4K, you have to pay extra. If you don't want ads, you have to pay extra. If you want this and that, you just pay extra in terms of the tiers, which has already happened with Game Pass. Basically, if you want to play, I don't know, above 60 frames, you have to pay extra. If you don't want, again, advertisement, you have to pay extra. If you want to play 4K, you have to pay extra. Again, if you want to have first day access or first day access to the games that supposedly comes to Game Pass, you have to pay extra. Again, it comes about in a way that might as well just buy a game on Steam on a sale when you can. And I think it serves best because also in terms of games, it works differently. For example, like a Spotify, like a Netflix. Usually, it's more the commitment of time of the consumer is bigger than, for example, listen to music, watch an episode, and then turn off, and then on the next day you can. Usually, gaming is a little bit more. It demands a little bit more time from the consumer, and it's also not exactly the way of the ownership. Again, uh, I think we should own what we buy, and that comes into digital rights acts and all that jazz. But yeah, I think this is will continue to happen on Xbox. I think we already saw some of it, even though it's not that was not announced in a big fanfare. We saw that with PlayStation, a lot of cancellation of projects. I think they tried to make it as low profile as possible, because again, got the Concord fiasco, and a lot of kind of similar projects were completely shut down. But Xbox, given that they are more open about it, I suppose, and the fact that we had following up this huge acquisitions there, because even PlayStation, they have the studio that bring us Destiny in 505. No, Jesus, the studio that brought us Destiny 1 and 2, and they were working. On another game. I got the one that Marathon. Yeah, that's going awful also, and they spent I think 5 billions to acquire that studio. Punchy, that's the studio I was looking for. But yeah, I think to a certain degree, um, it's a little bit from Microsoft side of things, because specifically, supposedly in October 2017, in an earnings call, the CEO of Microsoft at the time told that the world that the company should or sought to replicate Netflix success with a similar subscription service for gaming. And but Game Pass was already there, but I think that was that first kind of double down on trying to compete with Netflix with a gaming subscription service, which again, as we can see, it's not working. And again, the fact that for them to have enough people to subscribe to that service, they have to have a huge library of games to justify that, and that's when we start seeing a lot of acquisition from Xbox. Again, it's the consequences of reaching for a strategy that it's not working. And a lot of people since then said that it was not the best way to go about it, that they should and I think it's the best way. They should scrap this pursuit of the golden goose that doesn't exist specifically on the Game Pass situation. I think they should focus on cutting down production budgets for the games, and forget about this Game Pass as a primordial or the primary worry for them to have the revenue from there. um, because now you have something like this, but then they will start launching games at $80, specifically the Outer Worlds 2. I think it's $80 games, which I don't see justification for that. And even the games that are coming from first parties, some of the studios that were shut down, they were supposedly working on games for 7+ years. I think one of the studios was Rare Studios. They were working supposedly on something for 7 years now. Nothing came out. We still don't have news, for example, from Undead Labs, the State of Decay 3. We saw a couple of teaser trailers. Nothing show up there on the showcase, Xbox showcase a few months ago. Again, we got a lot of stuff. Again, I think they're not in a good place at this moment. They really need to turn around. They really need to cut down on in terms, especially on production budgets for the games. They need to be more agile. They need to come up with better experiences, and they need to stop to fooling themselves that games as a service is the way to go. Again, it's already for a few years now oversaturated market. Again, no, there is only going to be one Fortnite. It's impossible to compete with a game in that magnitude. You will always be chasing, I don't know, Stardust. You cannot. Um, you have to be innovative. You have to be innovative in terms of the games that you will come out here, and games as a service. Again, we got one or there in the dozens of games as a service that come out. You had to a certain degree Overwatch IP that they just fumbled with. Overwatch 2, it was a debacle. That situation. You got, for example, Marvel Rivals that seems okay. But yeah, they need to come up with interesting experiences. I don't know, maybe some incubator projects like the PlayStation as with the China Hero project here and there, where they fund a couple of games, they see what come up here from indies. Um, we have from that incubation project, we will have Where Winds Meet beta, closed beta now. Yeah, we got. They really need to stop thinking that that this is going to be the Netflix for games. It's not going to work. At the end, it will not work because they will not have enough players that going to buy that subscription service. And because they are basically seeing that at this moment it's not possible because they basically stagnated. Um, in terms of the subscription base, specifically on the Xbox side of things. They're trying to enter the PC market. They, I think, expanding already for PlayStation. I don't know how that will go, and even to Nintendo. But it will reach a point they will have to have every gamer to have that subscription service active for, supposedly in theory, this will work in terms of revenue for the games that, and to try to justify the expenses that they have acquiring all of these studios there. And even for example, from the acquisition that they had with Bethesda, ZeniMax, Starfield was a bust in terms of sales from what they're expecting. We don't know when the next Fallout or even the next Elder Scrolls will come out. The only thing that keeps them a little bit over the line is the Call of Duty stuff there, which is it's kind of a given sales there, but still I think it's the decreasing year by year, that IP in terms of sales. Got, for example, the King publisher of the mobile games. It's something that usually brings up some money there, but other than that, you don't see a lot of good games coming out of the Xbox studios, which is a shame. But yeah, I don't know how this will go. This will continue for sure. They will continue to close down some studios here and there. There was a story that supposedly from the studio that was working on Elder Scrolls Online, they were working on a new game. Supposedly, even Phil Spencer enjoyed very much the game. I think they played the preview of, or a beta of the version of that game in March, but now the studio basically is shut down. Again, by the end of the day, it's just a matter of dollars. You can have a good game, but if they think they will save some money, uh, especially at as the state of things are with Xbox. I'm not sure how long they will last. I think the only way they can maybe having saving grace is for them to invest on the next generation of consoles and be competitive with PlayStation, because PlayStation is still going through that route. Again, they have the PlayStation hardware. They will justify that as something good to buy, because even the Xbox doesn't have a middle, like a refresh of the console, like a pro version of the consoles that they have on the market, which is, I think, a little bit foolish. Uh, yeah, they are basically to a certain degree giving up on hardware, and in the side of software, they are not going very good, specific on the Xbox Game Pass service there. But yeah, it's a shame, but we will continue to see this happening throughout the year for sure. I think in the next quarter we'll see a little bit more corrections in terms of layoffs and the such. But yeah, I will try to keep following up on this one. Also, Techland cancels two games, including a new fantasy action RPG. I remember covering this screenshot, or not screenshot, artwork. But yeah, supposedly they are rumored to be working on the new Call of Juarez. I don't know how that will go. But yeah, that I think that the main focus was Dying Light, the Beast for PC, and they had to rearrange some stuff. I think here there is not a lot of layoffs. I think they had to switch around people and prioritize this game. But they canceled some projects. But from what I understand, they didn't lay off anybody. From what I understand, it's just move around people within the studio so they can focus on other things at this moment in time. We got also Helldivers is coming to Xbox Series. Again, I think this is a bet from PlayStation, given that they had to again shut down a lot of games as a service, and given this is the crown jewel in terms of publishing from PlayStation in the game as a service, and the fact that they managed to recoup a goodwill from players, the fact that they removed the PSN requirement stuff there, they backtracked there, and also on the region locks. People again, they came back to this game again. It seems a pretty good game, at least on the as a setup. I think it's something interesting. But yeah, now it's coming to Xbox on August 26th. but it's not coming to Xbox Game Pass again. It's one of those things. I don't think PlayStation is going to be fooled in letting this game going to Game Pass. If you want to play the game, you buy the price of the game, and then you will buy the updates and the such. They're going to be launched throughout the lifetime of this game. We got also Death Stranding 2 on the beach is estimated. Again, this is not official numbers or anything like that, but it's estimated to have sold probably almost 1.5 million units in June, which is basically in 1 week of availability. Again, this is an estimation. It has to do with a lot of tracking that they do, and then they do estimates with the tracking there. But if it is so, it seems that Kojima made a hit here. Again, supposedly Death Stranding when it came out, the first one was a little bit divisive. I always like the Kojima games because he always tries something different. He has a specific vision, and even though they might not be perfect games, they are unique. And the fact that Kojima has what people might call an auteur game director. I think he has a vision for a game and he tries to stick as faithful to that vision as possible. And I do appreciate the fact that even it might not be a game for everybody. Again, it's a game that the sequel here, the Death Stranding 2, it kind of doubles down on the concept of the first one and expands and improves both in terms of size and quality and tools that offer you to go about doing what you need to do in game. And I think this is a good thing. And the fact that people supposedly a lot of people bought this game. Hopefully, it will come out as soon as possible to PC because, again, I think I'm almost wrapping up recording my series on Death Stranding 1, and I cannot wait for Death Stranding 2, given that the few videos here and there, I still didn't get spoiled in terms of story wise. But certain mechanics, and I see that there is a lot of improvements uh, specifically from things that I'm experiencing from the first game. I see some improvements and things that I wanted in terms of quality of life while you play the game. I already saw those things, or at least some of them, in Death Stranding 2, which I do appreciate that he maintained consistent with that vision there. And then lastly, again, I didn't cover this much because, again, first of all, I was not very aware of this stop killing games, which is part of the basically the concept um, is basically not to shut down multiplayer games or at least have if you buy a game, even if it's online, if the servers, for example, shut down, at least have a version of that game that can be played on offline. Basically, it's again uh, something that to avoid something like the crew from Ubisoft happening, and this is something for European citizens only in terms of the signups. So if you're not an European citizen, I do advise you not to sign this so you don't inflate the numbers unnecessarily. But I think this is the simple philosophy of this initiative is good for consumers. And I saw this in the last couple of weeks. Uh, Again, it started off with some guy. I don't know. I think he's a game developer talking shit about this, misconstruing the philosophy of this petition. And then afterwards, also PewDiePie entering the conversation, supporting this petition here of stop killing games. And all of a sudden, it was kind of in a lull state. I think they were almost half of it in just in a couple of weeks. They just managed to surpass the 1 million signatures necessary. Again, this at least for now it surpassed the 1 million signatures necessary to submit to the parliament. But again, there might be some of them that they are not from European citizens because it's part of the European Parliament. So only countries or citizens of countries from the European Union can sign this kind of petition, or else it will not be counted. Even though the intention of bringing this to 1 million signatures and up is very much appreciated, the sentiment. But again, legality sometimes, or legalities enters in this field, so they will not be counted if you're not a citizen of a European Commission country there. But yeah, good to see. Hopefully, this will pass, and they now will have to respond um, to this petition. And probably this might go or enter in a state that they have to just legislate, at least for a European Union space, in terms of publishers not be able to do something like Ubisoft did with the Crew, which is the most recent case of just eliminating the game. But yeah, the core demands are very simple. If a game is delisted, players should receive a refund, or the game should remain accessible via preserved offline mode. Basically, it's that simple. So basically, is don't fuck the money that you already spent on the game. Just at least let it experience the game in an offline capacity or a single player capacity in any case there, given that the publisher itself doesn't see any reason to be to profit from this property or this game itself. At least let players have play the game that they paid for. Basically, that's it, because this will might start an international conversation about consumer rights, game ownership, and digital media preservation, which is another important thing that I think that should be addressed also. Because again, I don't know, some games that are favorite older games that might not be exist in a couple of years from now, because it doesn't suit the economic incentives for the companies. But yeah, it's good to see that that this at least passed at least a million mark. I just hope that all the signatures are again from European citizens, that they are part of the European Commission. But yeah, it's good to see that this passed. Hopefully, they will have to respond at least with some recommendation or something like that. They will have to start pressuring companies that they cannot do this. I don't know, maybe create some law or something like that. Again, I will wrap up here with some gaming deals. Again, the games here, they are basically from my library of games that I or at least some of them already played. So we got here Plague Tale, Innocence, and Requiem. They are on sale still till the 10th of July. 80% off on Innocence, and then you can buy as a bundle with Requiem. You got Alien Isolation, 75% off. Again, I do recommend this game. This is one of the first, or at least the oldest series that I did. I do recommend it, especially at this price point. Very interesting, and I think it still holds up in terms of graphics. But yeah, it's one of those that I do recommend. Got also Bartman, Batman Arkham Collection, the trilogy here, Game of the Year edition, plus Arkham Knight and the season pass there, around 80% off, so around $10 or so. I think it's a good deal. I played the first two. I did enjoy it as Batman games. I never played Arkham Knight because when it came to PC it was a disaster, so I skipped at the time. And when I have time, I will buy and play by myself also. We got Control. I made a series out of this one. I do recommend this game. Very interesting. This is the Ultimate Edition, 85% off. Again, a very cheap, very interesting game. The connection that they made with, for example, Alan Wake, the universe that they created here, very interesting. A lot of interesting concepts, and even the gameplay is very solid, and the story is pretty interesting. We got Dead Space Remake. Again, another game that I made a series out. I do recommend at this price point, 80% off. There is no need to buy the deluxe unless you want just the skin suits there. Yeah, it still plays as the original one, at least the memory that I have playing the first one. The only nitpick that I have here is the some stuttering when you open doors, when basically the level is loading on the background. Other than that, the game is pretty fluid. I don't have issues with anything else there. Got that Stranding. Again, director's cut is the way to go. 60% off. Again, cheap. Excellent game. It's not only just a delivery game. Again, the themes that Kojima tackles here are something to think about. in the overall scheme of things. And yeah, it's a solid game. I'm still enjoying this game, still doing the deliveries, trying to do all the premium stuff there. Again, very interesting how you go about in terms of playing this game. Then you got Deus Ex Human Revolution Director's Cut. Again, one that I recommend. 85% off. Then the sequel, Mankind Divided. From what I played, I also recommend, especially at this price point. You got Elden Ring. It's on sale. 40% off. The Shadow of the Tree is not on sale, so you got that. But yeah, at least the base game is 40% off. Again, I do recommend with the Shadow of the Tree. Again, it's an excellent addition to the base game. It explores and expands a lot on the lore and the characters there. We got Firewatch, 80% off. Again, no brainer. I really did enjoy the experience that I had with this game, and I did a series on this one. So if you want to check out there, we got Jusant, another interesting experience. I did enjoy it. I fully recommended this price point, which was basically the price that I bought. If you're curious about this one, again, first episode should be enough to have an idea what this game is about. We got Mutineer Zero Road to Eden. I do recommend it with I think the deluxe edition, which has the DLC there, expands a little bit on the story. Even though the story itself is a complete one, but at least it spends a little bit there from the main story. And at this price point, I do recommend it for sure. Got Planet of Lana. I also made a series out of it. Again, all of them, or almost all of them, I made a series out of it, so you can check them out on the main page of the channel. Again, 75% off. It's stamp of approval, a no-brainer here. We got Resident Evil franchise is on sale. I will leave all the Resident Evil games in the description below so you can pick and choose and complete your collection. We got Slay the Spire. Again, if you like the roguelike deck builder kind of games there, it's highly recommended from me. I spend at least 150 hours on this one and I still play from time to time. 75% off. Again, no brainer also. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Again, if you like Star Wars, at least I enjoyed these games. 75% off. Again, some issues here and there in terms of performance wise. Could be a little bit better optimized, but at this price point, I can recommend it at this price point. The same thing can be said to Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Again, it tries to expand a little bit more from the previous one. It is a little bit bigger, some improvements in terms of quality of life and upgrades, but it still has, it's a little bit better in terms of PC performance, but you can still notice from time to time some hiccups here and there. But other than that, it's a little bit better than the previous one. Then you got the Evil Within franchise. Again, 75% off. I can recommend this. Again, I made a series out of it. And the same thing can be said with the Evil Within 2. This is a more recent series that I did. And again, the game is 80% off, so I do recommend it. Tomb Raider, Definitive Survivor Trilogy. Again, the free games, Game of the Year editions with all the DLC associated with it. 85% off. Again, I can recommend this for sure. Wasteland 2 Director's Cut. Again, 50% off. I think it's good. I bought the Colorado edition of the game, which is not here. It has the two DL. No, it's Wasteland 3. Sorry, the Director's Cut is Director's Cut. Digital Deluxe Edition, I think it was the one that I bought there. I will eventually do a series on this one. I kind of left it in the middle. Then I move out of the country, and again, I have to restart everything from the beginning. Wasteland 3, I bought the Colorado edition. At least, yeah, I bought the Colorado edition, got the two DLCs there. It's one of those that after finishing up with Wasteland 2 that I did enjoy where I played, I will eventually go about and playing this game. Then you got XCOM 2 again. It's one of my favorite games. Again, almost 500 hours playing this game with and without mods. I do recommend the collection, XCOM 2 collection, so to buy all the packs because of mod compatibility. And again, 95% off on the base game. And again, it's very cheap. It still plays very well the vanilla side of things. plays very well, no problem. And then again, with the mods, I don't know, you can have almost infinite combinations of how you can play the game and approach every scenario and situation with the mods there. And then last we got XCOM Chimera Squad. Again, it's I don't know why it's mostly negative. I don't know if something happened. This is very recent. um, I don't know what happened. I'm not sure if people thought this was kind of a sequel to XCOM 2. I don't know if people thought this was XCOM 3 per se. Very interesting experience. They tried to experiment with the formula of XCOM. They tried to tell a story again. Might not be the best way to go about it. But basically, I think you have a squad of aliens and humans and such, and you go about on doing missions. But I don't know. This before was kind of mixed, but now it seems to be mostly negative. Again, I think people think this is kind of the XCOM 3, which is not. Maybe I assume that's the thing because this is from the same team that did XCOM 2 plus with the same engine, so everything works properly from my understanding. So I'm not exactly sure what happened here with this latest reviews here. But yeah, I'll wrap up for today with plug on my Patreon for extra support as usual. You know the thing, extra support for having a better storage solution. And yeah, um, I see you on the next one. Hope you have a wonderful day and all that jazz. And till then, Kunami Master out.